Hi, I'm Abby Sarthou, and this is my husband Pierre. And we have two boys, Kale who's 10 and Henry who's 7, and Kale has hearing loss.
He was born with some malformities in his spine, in his vertebrae. He had to have surgery when he was 2 to stabilize the back of his skull to his vertebrae, and through the process and the many years he had multiple ear infections and had punctured eardrums, always sick.
He's had significant ear infections through his whole life. He's had probably 5 or 6 sets of tubes. He also has had multiple ear surgeries to repair the ossicles in his ear. So he has a prosthetic stapes. So that is kind of interesting, I think, that they put in a little metal, titanium piece in there. And so that improved the hearing in his right ear considerably. He's like a 40 decibel loss in that, somewhere around that. And then the left ear, they were never able to really, they went in multiple times to try and repair it, but they couldn't ever really get it
fixed.
It wasn't a type to be fixed.
We never really thought that he had hearing loss due to the ear infections, but as he kind of started getting older and as we've kind of resolved the issues with his neck, it started to be apparent that he was somewhat delayed in some of his speech and some of his reading skills, and so Abby started looking into his hearing and hearing loss.
Yeah, I guess. We knew he had significant speech delays at the age of 2. He started in the early intervention program in Utah when we lived there, and he had speech therapy services from the age of 2 on, and still today. But I think where the hearing loss was really hard for us is that we had gone to multiple audiologists, our ENTs. Nobody was saying, "Oh, you should get hearing aids." He doesn't have access to sound. It was like, "Oh, he has mild hearing loss. He has mild hearing loss. Don't worry about it.
It's not affecting him."
But then, you start looking at the correlation between his speech delays and that he's not hearing, and it starts to, why isn't anyone, and I didn't know enough about hearing loss, and so we just took the doctors and the audiologists' words that we just keep going along and just keep getting him into services. And so finally, when he was in 1st grade, we kind of demanded, why can he just have hearing aids? How hard is that? And they were like, "Well, sure, yeah, if you want them." And so
Abby pretty much said, "We're getting hearing aids."
And so
for Kale. He needs them.
So we got hearing aids, and he still has some significant speech delays, but it's improving all the time, and his reading is improved, and everything is, it's just getting so much better. When I don't know why, it's just really frustrating that the medical community there's not enough connection between audiologists and the ENTs to say, hey, we really, we should be aiding these kids. Why
Even
not?
with minimal hearing.
It was unfortunate that we weren't able to diagnose his hearing loss early, obviously, and then we kind of got wrapped up in his spinal issues for multiple years and put hearing loss on the back burner. And now, once the spine was resolved, then we moved back into looking at hearing loss. But through this, we also finally did genetic testing when he was, was he 8?
7
Yeah.
or 8.
No, he was 8. We did genetic testing, and we found out that he has a genetic syndrome called 22q11.2 deletion syndrome. And so it causes hearing loss, spinal deformities, learning difficulties, a whole host of other things. And I went to a conference last summer for kids with 22q, and basically all the kids there had hearing aids. And what was really interesting, though, is that a lot of these kids with 22q have pretty significant heart issues, and Kale doesn't have that. But so it was kind of like when we were dealing with the spine, these parents are all dealing with the heart, and they didn't seem that concerned about the hearing. Like everyone in the room was kind of like, whatever, they have hearing loss. Yeah, it's just one more thing, whatever. And to me, I feel like hearing loss is one of the biggest pieces, because if you can't have access to learning, or
Hearing.
everything, right? I mean, that's what we all know, but
language.
Life is gonna be so much harder. And so I think, and that's been something we've had a hard time, educating our families about, even just friends or teachers. Teachers have been really hard, but to understand that, like, why are we so set on him always wearing his hearing aids, having the FM system, like, and explaining to the teachers and family and that, how important this is and why. I think it's like it needs to be some sort of bigger message out there that...
I always kind of think of it as a puzzle, and if you're only getting a portion of the puzzle and you're missing the hearing aspect is a huge piece of that puzzle. And it sets off a bunch of, you don't understand, how word structure is, and how to compile sentences, and Cale's done a really good job. I think his reading has come a long way, but his sentence structure is, there was a fact yesterday saying that children going into, I think, kindergarten that they need to know 5,000 words, and Abby leaned over to me, and Kale's in 4th grade, and she said that I don't think Kale has 5,000 words in 4th grade.
I started trying to figure out how I could count that. Is there can you put record him and count it somehow? But I do. It is significant to have access to sound. So to me, it's really important. It's something I've worked really hard to make sure that we have all the resources he needs. So anyway, but yeah, so it's been
challenging.
Yeah, but it's also it's just part of what he is. It doesn't stop us from doing everything that he wants to do and everything that we're, I think he
hasn't slowed him down at all.
Yeah, right.
He's still a happy-go-lucky kid every day. He doesn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think there's. That's our journey so far. We'll see where it takes us, huh?